Connecting the SWAC, the MEAC, SIAC, and the CIAA. The HBCU experience lives here. It's the HBCU Report with Rob Calloway.
This is the HBCU Report, being heard live via TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and now the 2 Live Stews Radio Network. You can download the HBCU Report on demand via Google Play for Android and iTunes. We're powered by our content partner, sportsnewsandbrews.com, your official source for all things sports, black news, political news, and the latest on your favorite craft beers. Log on to sportsnewsandbrews.com right now. Rob Calloway back. Man, I was trying to figure out when was the last airing of the HBCU Report, and it was actually the week of the Honda Battle of the Bands. Back in the winter. What was that? The end of January, beginning of February, something like that. But anyway, we're back, better than ever, as I like to say. Getting you ready for another great season of action. Of course, this is week 3 of the college football season. A lot of stuff been going on with your boy. So don't get me, my boy Big Mike, from One Mike with Big Mike right here on Spreaker.com. Actually, was teasing me. He was like, so when the show coming back? I was like, this week. He was like, the season already started, though. I'm like, yeah, I know. He just sent me back a message. Hashtag black people. Well, you know, it is what it is. And if you haven't checked out One Mike with Big Mike, you got to make sure you check him out. I forget what days he's. Oh, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday? Is that it? Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You got to make sure you check him out at 7 o'clock right here on Spreaker.com. But anyway, like I said, a lot of things been going on in my world, ladies and gentlemen. You know, since I last joined you, you know, I've transitioned. You know, I've got this whole radio thing out of my blood, except for this. You know, I said if I was going to continue to do something in radio, it was going to have to be something for me. And so this HBCU Report is something that's near and dear to me. Been doing this for 5 years. For those of you just hearing the HBCU for the very first time, because of the massive number of listeners that we have right here on the 2 Live Stews Radio Network. I've been doing this show for about 5 years, started doing it 1380 WAOK in Atlanta. And, you know, this is something that's near and dear to me. I started doing this show after another situation I had went awry. And, you know, again, this is mine, and this is something that I'm passionate about. But, you know, the whole radio thing, I was able to kind of get it out of my blood. And, you know, I've transitioned into the classroom now where I'm actually teaching audio video broadcasting, where they actually call it audio video technology and film. But I'm doing that now in the DeKalb County School District here in Metro Atlanta. And so, you know, just a lot of stuff been going on, and it's a lot of work. Trying to train up the next generation of young broadcasters and industry professionals is a lot. But, you know, I'm making it happen. But I definitely had to still take time out to be able to represent for all the HBCUs throughout the country, especially mine, my beloved ASU, the real ASU, that is the Alabama State University, Montgomery, Alabama. Shouts out to them. Shouts out to Coach Brian Jenkins. They say my boy is on the hot seat. You damn right. You got to win some games, Coach. We got to win this classic coming up in October as well. It could be it. This could be it. I'm just saying, man. You know, they don't play about that. But again, a lot of stuff been going on in the world of HBCU sports since the last time I joined you. I think that one of the biggest things that happened that was kind of a shocker to me was the fact that the SWAC decided to do away with the SWAC football championship, a game that at one point I used to really look forward to. It used to be in Birmingham, but then for some reason or another, they decided they wanted to move it to Houston. And so I don't really know, because Houston is not the hotbed for the SWAC. I mean, if you ask me, as somebody that lived the SWAC, breathed the SWAC, all that great stuff, Alabama is the place that you want to do that. So I never did, or let me say I wasn't fortunate enough to actually attend the SWAC football championship once it moved over to Houston. But, you know, it is what it is. The MEAC doesn't have a football championship either, so I guess it kind of makes it even. And, of course, that's all a part of this Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl thing that we have here in Atlanta, where we crown well, they say don't call it the HBCU National Champion, but in all regards, that's really what it is. You're not the Celebration Bowl champion. I mean, I love my Division IIs, but the real deal is if you win the Celebration Bowl, in my opinion, you are the HBCU National Champion. And again, you got a lot of great teams out there in Division II. You got Tuskegee in the SIAC. Then in the CIAA, of course, Winston-Salem State is always a mainstay. Then you got teams that are on the uptick, like Virginia State University, who they've won 11 games going back to last year. They're currently 2-0. And they're not the only ones. Bowie State is another team, 2-0 in the CIAA right now. And so no disrespect to them, but when you're on the FCS level, I think that whoever wins that Celebration Bowl should be crowned the HBCU National Champion until a better system can be put in place. And we've talked about many systems right here on the HBCU Report, and we are being heard via TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and the Two Live Stews Radio Network. Don't forget you can download the HBCU Report on demand via Google Play for Android and iTunes. But yeah, we've talked about many scenarios, including a college football playoff, something similar to what they do at the FBS level right now, just so that everybody can kind of get their panties out of a bunch. Shouts out to Grambling State University and Broderick Fobbs. They've been doing some phenomenal things over there at Grambling State University. Last year's Celebration Bowl, I know I talked about it, but I just have to, since this is the official kickoff of the HBCU Report, I got to give you my own little perspective. Celebration Bowl is awesome. My only thing about the Celebration Bowl, and I'll say this to John Grant, I'll say this to ESPN, I'll say this to anybody that listens. It's an HBCU game. Stop trying to make it like the national championship, like the big boy. Because the thing that makes HBCU games special, classics especially, is that classic feeling, that camaraderie ship, not all of this corporate brouhaha, if you will. It still needs to have that classic feel. And I know ESPN, they have boots on the ground in Birmingham for the Magic City Classic. They have boots on the ground for the Florida Classic. They have boots on the ground for the MEAC SWAC Challenge to kick off the season. They have boots on the ground everywhere, so they see these great events happen right before their eyes. The Bayou Classic, which, of course, is aired on NBC Sports. Another huge classic. They're huge for a reason. Like, for those of you that don't know, Super Bowls, national championship games, a lot of these, now it's the college football playoff, but a lot of these top tier bowl games, a lot of the people that end up filling these seats are people that work for corporate sponsors. See, the HBCU thing is completely different. It's completely different. Like, it's great to have the corporate sponsor to come in to put the dollars behind the product. But the God honest truth is, whether the funding was there or not, the good times will still go roll. Period. That's the special part of the whole HBCU experience and games that are on the big stage, like I said, like the classics and like this Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. I like how they do it. They operate really well. Everything runs like a well-oiled machine. So I'm not trying to crap on that, because that part is excellent. But you have to incorporate some of the HBCU magic, if you will. You have to. Like, the weekend has to be huge. It has to have more of the pageantry and more of the camaraderie and all that great stuff. Because, see, in games like this, the thing that makes it different versus like a classic, like a Bama State and Alabama A&M, or a Grambling State and a Southern University, is that those are built-in rivalries in those classics. So for a game like the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl, you don't have that built-in rivalry. Like North Carolina Central University and Grambling State are not traditional rivals. So in order to really be able to sell this thing and make it all HBCU inclusive, because you don't want to just depend on the alumni of the two schools that are playing in the game, because God forbid, like Arkansas Pine Bluff and Delaware State end up meeting in the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl, then what are you going to do? Those fan bases are not going to travel. They're not going to fill up that new Mercedes-Benz Stadium, that big, beautiful stadium down on the west side of Atlanta. They're not going to fill that up. You have to, look, this is what I was saying while I was at the game. I was saying to myself, man, it would be so awesome if every school had their own section, like the FAMU section, the Tennessee State section, the Alabama State, whoever, the Texas Southern, like if everybody had like tickets that they were responsible for selling, like a section. So just imagine that. If all the schools in the MEAC and all the schools in the SWAC were responsible for one section in the lower bowl, not even necessarily the mezzanine or the upper level, just the lower bowl. If everybody was responsible for a section, just imagine how awesome and what a real HBCU experience you would have. I mean, this stuff's not rocket science, not brain science, brain surgery. It's not. These are things that I sit around all the time and think about. How can I solve this problem? How can this problem be solved? And, some people might say, that will never work. Well, try it. You never know. You might even want to sprinkle in some of the schools that are right here in the state of Georgia, Alabama, the Division II SIAC schools. Get them to sell some tickets. I mean, I think it's only right that the MEAC and SWAC be responsible, but if you want to add another element, go for it. But it's not hard. This should be the classic of all classics. I know it's a national championship game. I know it's on the ESPN deck, ABC. I get it. But we need to show them the beauty of what the HBCU experience is all about. Like, we need to show them like it's a black college family reunion. Can I get an amen? Do you feel me? I'm not trying to just stay on my soapbox, but I'm just saying. If every school could be represented at a game where, it's the conference is SWAC versus MEAC, if every school could be represented, just imagine. FAMU, because they travel. It's so many people from FAMU right here in Atlanta, they'd probably be able to take up two sections. But just think if you when the cameras pan around and then you see all the different schools represent all the colors, like you see the black and gold, or you see the purple and gold, or you see blue and white, or you see the orange and green, and then you see whoever, the people that are there representing their school, their respective schools that are competing in the game. And then you start looking around and you see all these other colors. Like, just think about how great that would be. And if you weren't a part of the HBCU movement, or you don't have any experience in the experience, then I'm not talking to you, because you really don't know what I'm talking about. But if you've been part of the experience, you know exactly what I'm saying. There are a lot of people didn't even know, like the diehard, like tailgate bandhead, HBCU fan, like a lot of folks didn't even really know about the game until last season, which was the second year of the Celebration Bowl. And, again, we have to be inclusive, because that's what makes HBCU so special. And with that being said, I'll step off my soapbox just for a moment, just to remind you that this is the HBCU Report, and I am Rob Calloway, and the show is being heard live via TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and now the 2 Live Stews Radio Network. You can download the HBCU Report on demand via Google Play for Android and also iTunes. We're powered by our content partner, sportsnewsandbrews.com, your official source For all things sports, black news, political news, and the latest on your favorite craft beers, log on to sportsnewsandbrews.com right now. Well, maybe not right now, but when we're not here,